Were you trying to buy a house this summer, and was it just chaotic? It may have been very chaotic. Your prices may have been up. Some prices were down. You just had to find the right time to buy the house. If you were selling, forget about it. You may have put that on the market, and it may have gone within the week. Oh, stories of house flipping scams, they became very relevant. We shared some of those here as well, and maybe it's finally settling down. Maybe the house buying situation in the market is getting back to normal. And usually it does this time of year. But to recap the summer and look forward to what we have coming up maybe later this year in 2022, we have Dominic Fonte of Cutler Real Estate on the line. Dominic, we appreciate you joining us today.
Thanks, Jordan.
Hey, thank you so much. How long have you been a realtor here in Stark County?
This is my 33rd year, believe it or not.
Wow, 33 years. Have you seen the housing market the way that it is right now?
No, I haven't.
What
unusual?
Yeah, what's making the housing market just so different this year? Whether the prices are up or down, I mean, it depends what kind of house you want. You might be paying $30,000-$40,000 more than the asking price.
Right. So we've had an interesting 2 years. If you think about what's been happening, so think about baby boomers, which was the biggest segment of the market, say in the 90s. Now we got what's called the millennial group, which is a bigger segment than the boomers. And I would say a lot of people that are buying now, 50% of the first-time buyers are probably in their early 30s. And so what the problem that we're struggling with is a lack of inventory. So that means there's less homes on the market. You have historically low rates, and then you have, supply and demand, which means the prices are going up. And this is what you were alluding to when you said it could be 10, 20, 30, 40,000 over the asking price, which is totally ludicrous. So that's what was happening as we came off of COVID. So we had, if you think about it, usually April, May, and June, it'd be the Black Friday of shopping for real estate, right? So when COVID came, if you think about the supply and demand, and there's a thing with, when you balance out how many buyers and how many sellers, well, there's usually like a sweet spot about 5 months of inventory. That means it takes 5 months to burn off the inventory based on supply and demand. Well, we were short anyhow. And then when COVID happened, it happened March 15th of 2020, right? So it was just heading into the April, May, and June market, which is that Black Friday shopping. Well, everything paused for a hot minute. Some people decided maybe let's just wait and see because of health reasons or not really understanding how big this was really going to be. Well, so there's some pent-up things going on. Then the rates dropped about 2.5, 2.6, 2.8. Which is really a historically low rate, Jordan.
Yeah.
And so then what happened now is things are starting to slightly normalize a little bit, and I can break that down for you a little bit more. But, yeah, it's been an unusual experience for me.
All right, so I don't own a house right now. I rent, and I love my home. I do. It's a great house, and, I pay a good amount for it. But I know if I bought, my mortgage might be a little bit lower. Now, what do you tell someone who is intimidated right now by the local market, who they're scared to even put their foot in it to try to buy a house right now?
Well, what you're thinking and going through is a very common thing I hear because there's always perception and then the reality. And I think as a potential buyer, seller, or someone just trying to figure out and dip their toe in the lukewarm water, an informed decision maker is a happy decision maker. So I think the most important thing for someone like you or just processing this, because like when you figure, if you're paying $600 a month times 12 times 5 years, that's a substantial amount of money that you don't have skin in the game where you're going to get a return on investment, right?
Correct.
So I think when you look at it and we break it down as simple as we can, even at 3%, you're like $4.20 per thousand. So that means what you were saying is if I got a mortgage, maybe my payments would be less than rent. That's correct. But it's intimidating because you think, well, I need 20% down. So if I bought a $100,000 home, that would be $20,000, which most people don't have that kind of money. I'm just using this as an example just because it's easy math. But you could actually buy that home, Jordan, with 3.5% down or less because there's special grants out there. So you could do an FHA loan at 3.5% down. So that'd be $3,500 out of pocket. And you could secure that home and then actually get in the game. So like you said, you love your home. And what's tough about real estate in general is it's psychologically very expensive, or at least seems like it is.
Yeah.
And it's also very emotional and personal. So I think the informed decision maker, if you said, you know what, Dom, I'm really, struggling with this. I hear that homes are less affordable now because they've been going up so quick in value. So maybe we should just wait and see if the market's going to go down. Maybe that would be the time to buy. And so there's a whole dynamic to the interest rates and that philosophy. And part of it is just, again, like you said, just making sure how do I break it down for you so that you can take a bite-sized piece of it day by day and say, you know what, I think I could do this. And you could do this. And I have the technology to help articulate it in a way that you could actually, believe that this could happen for you. And when you look at renting over long haul. Now, many times we'll rent in transition while we're, graduating school, while we're getting ready to get married, or while we do different things. But in the long run, the people that eventually can buy real estate will have more wealth in the long run. So 65% of the population, let's say, has home ownership. There is a need for rentals. But I think in the long run, when you're trying to map out your life and what you want to do, I believe that real estate's an integral part of, say, a middle-of-the-road average person of how they gradually build wealth, provide a wonderful place to live, because you can customize it to you and your family. And just it's a wonderful thing. Plus, there's pride of ownership. There's a forced savings plan as you pay down that mortgage, and also the appreciation factor, which is what you hear a lot about now, which is when the values go up.
Yeah, it's one of the best assets that you can have. And that's why I get so annoyed, Dom, when I hear, of my friends, for example, who maybe they hit it big in the sports world or music. And they're like, oh, yeah, I just bought this brand new, car off the line. I'm like, why? Why was that your first investment?
Well, it's because it's like instant gratification.
Yeah.
Like a house isn't like you think, well, a lot of times I think when I look at people that are renting and people that want to buy, sometimes what happens is it's overwhelming because you're not really sure of the unknown. It's the abyss. It's scary. And, you say, well, like I'm tight. I got some student debt and, I'm trying to save for this or that. And I got car payments or whatever it is that you pay. So, it's like, how do I reduce my debt? I don't think I can deal with the house right now. But then you're paying money for rent, right? So I think it's just more just kind of like understanding like a three-step process, like ABC. Like, what are the ABCs or the 1, 2, 3s in is this even possible? And like, am I thinking, geez, if I buy this house, the furnace goes out, I can't afford that, the air conditioning, the roof leaks, the plumbing leaks. Yeah. So there's psychological stuff that you get worried about, and then you get freaked out, and you just pause. And I think if someone sits you down and explains to you, you know what, this is a very simple way to do it. I mean, I do it every day. I've done it 2,300 times, so I understand it like breathing, right? But like if you only do it like most people, and you're not in the game yet, but eventually you do want to get in the game, the majority of the population, I'd say between the age of 25 and 75, maybe buy 2 to 3 homes, maybe 4 tops. And so it's not like an everyday occurrence, it's like buying a belt or something. But it's scary because it's not something you're familiar with. So I think if you get an expert in your corner that's looking out for your interest as you try to decide if this is something you want to consider, honestly, I think it's very, very important to be educated, because if you are, you'll kind of know what options you have, and then you can map out when is the right time for you. And that was basically what my philosophy would be. And if you have it explained properly, you would see that it's not as scary. It's not like going to Vegas and like gambling, the only money you have left and seeing if you can double it or nothing. It's nothing like that. It's a very calculated, strategic, wise, conservative decision, as long as you buy within your comfort zone of what your income level is. So there's a formula to that. which I could surely share with you.
Yeah, Dom, we got to go. I could talk to you all day about this because it is very interesting, and I do want to thank you for your time. But can you please just tell our listeners how they can receive help from you when it comes to maybe buying a home, or even if they're just ready to sell and buy another one?
Right. Well, I'd say, first of all, just get informed. It isn't like you have to, commit to anything. It's just more getting information. So over time, you make your decision. My name's Dominic Fonte. I work currently at Cutler Real Estate. I've been in the business 33 years. I can be reached on my cell, 330-418-1535. You can also email me at Dominic, that's DOMINIC, at DominicFonte.com. Or if you want to see my more than 325 five-star reviews, go to DominicFonte.com. That would give you an example of what you would experience working with me. And I also have a lot of videos online and good information to help you become an informed decision maker, because an informed decision maker is a happy decision maker.
Hey,
thanks for having me on.
Dom, thank you so much.
All right, Jordan, be safe. Let me know if I can assist.
All righty.